Okay, so welcome everybody to Enjoy English. I am Shane.
Hello, 我是 Bernice.
And we are going to do day 2 of the rise of the QR code. So it's rising, just meaning that we're figuring out how it went from nothing to this global phenomenon.
所以变成一个全球的一个现象了。好，所以我们现在就是要了解到底这个 QR code 为什么这么样的受欢迎。所以我们讲到这一个我们现在大家生活都离不开的这个 QR code 的这个条码，它的这个兴起。
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing to think of all the different functions and things that you can do with it now that just even a couple of years ago, I remember seeing QR codes everywhere, and I was like, I don't understand. Why are these things popping up everywhere? And now it's quite obvious, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows what they are, and everyone knows how to use them, even really old people.
没错，所以现在连比较不太会使用手机的啦，或者是比较年纪年长的这些年长者，都必须要学习如何使用这个 QR code。
Okay, great. Let's take a short break and then we'll get into this topic.
好的。
The rise of the QR code. The barcode, the QR code's older sister, is limited to 20 characters of information and can only be read horizontally. In contrast, QR codes can hold about 7,000 characters of information and can be read at any angle. Also, unlike barcodes, they don't require specialized devices to be read. The camera in your smartphone will do, as most modern phones include scanning functions. For a QR code to be scanned, it must contain 3 black squares in 3 of the code's corners. These small squares help the camera determine the position of the code. There must also be an empty white border around the outside of the QR code. This blank space, or the quiet zone, is used to help the camera identify the start and end of the code. The rest of the black squares and dots inside the code all represent data that can be turned into readable information. The invention of smartphones helped QR codes spread rapidly across the world. When the COVID-19 pandemic occurred in 2020, QR codes became the perfect tool for sharing information without making physical contact. QR codes are now integrated into the digital age, and their popularity will surely continue to grow in the years ahead.
Okay, so let's jump right into the reading.
Okay.
So, the barcode, the QR code's older sister, so we were talking about the barcode before.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's not an older brother. It's its older sister,
Okay.
is limited to 20 characters of information and can only be read horizontally. Right, horizontally. So it's limited to 20 characters, just means that it cannot go more than 20 characters. That is the limit. No more than that.
Yeah. 所以呢，这边一开始就先讲了行动条码的 older sister 是谁呢？她的大姐到底是谁呢？好，那我们这边的这个 older sister， 其实这个 sister 指的就是说同类型的东西啦，哈。好，那么她的这一个姐妹呢，就是所谓的 barcode。那这个条码呢，因为它其实就是 be limited to， 它就被局限在这个范围里面。它的局限的范围是什么呢？就是你里面呢只能输入有20个字元，就是这个字，只能20个，超过它也没办法让你记录在里面了。然后呢，它的 information 就是这么多，好，而且呢，它也只能被阅读 read， 就是被这个 scanner 啊，然后这样读取。 而且你读取的方式就是水平的，你没有办法垂直或者是什么斜角都不行，就是平平的。所以你看人家在扫描那个 barcode 的都是要这样子扫描，没有人这样子扫描，或者是对其他的方向，所以就只能被局限在这样的字源里面跟这样子的方向。
Yeah, and not only that, barcodes were never used by just normal people.
Yeah, right.
Barcodes were something that are strictly used within businesses, like places like supermarkets. So QR code is now something that the public is using.
Yes.
And there's a lot of information we need in this information era, isn't there? So thank God the QR code has come to the rescue.
没错。
Okay, so in contrast, QR codes can hold about 7,000 characters of information and can be read at any angle. Wow. So how much more is that? 7,000? 20? Are you good at math?
No, my math is not good enough.
It's a lot more. 好几倍?
Yeah, 可能300多倍吧。
对，300
多倍了。OK， 好，所以我们两个人数学都没有很好，我比他好一点点，一点点而已。OK，in contrast 就是指呢，在这个相对比、相较之下，那当我们用到 in contrast， 通常是在对比它的不同的地方，就是两样东西不一样的地方。好，所以他现在比较什么东西呢？他就说。QR code 呢？刚才我们说它的 older sister 就是这个 barcode， 它里面呢只能放入20个字元，可是现在的 QR code can hold、can contain， 它包含的这个字元呢有7000个，所以它可以有放7000个字元。所以我们刚刚说7000是20的大概300多倍这样子的一个字元的资料。而且呢，它也不用是水平的那个读取了，你可以用any angle， 你任何角度，斜的，好还是横的、直的都可以。
That's right. Very convenient. Also, unlike barcodes, they don't require specialized devices to be read. So like we were talking at the supermarkets, those little things that look like little guns. Those things are very specialized equipment that you only find in places like supermarkets and things like that. It's not for the average consumer to be using. But since we have smartphones now, right, you can use QR code scanner right on your phone.
没错，
Right?
所以这边有讲到它的第二个很大的这个优点 ，also moreover， 不像是 barcodes，unlike 这是一个介系词哦，哈。不像是这一个所谓的一般我们的这个条码 ，they don't require 这些这个所谓的 QR code 呢，它是不需要任何 specialized devices，就像刚才 Shane 老师讲，你去 supermarket 就是要那个 cashier 拿的那一个scanner 才能够扫描他们的 product 后面的那个 barcode， 好，就是它那一个才可以。但问题是呢，我们这一个 QR code 是不需要任何这种 specialized 的，就是专门的、特地为什么东西设计的这样的一些
specialized for some special function。
没错，就是为了特定功能所设计的这种 devices， 这样的设备是不需要的哦。那么就可以来读取这个所谓的 QR code。
Right, so the camera in your smartphone will do, as most modern phones include scanning functions. Right, so the camera software that you have pretty much in every, phone in the last 5 years has this ability to scan QR codes. It's just so cool. You take a picture of it and then it little pops up and you press the button and then it takes you to a website, takes to a menu, takes you to just any kind of, anywhere on the internet really, with all kinds of information.
没错，所以呢，你看它使用有多么的方便呢？他就说了，这个呢，我们直接用我们 smartphone 里面的这个照相机的功能，好，然后直接呢就可以 will do， 就是可以做出来这样的一个动作。他说呢，因为这个 as 就是 because， 大部分现在我们现在的手机呢，里面都包含有扫描的这个 functions， 那个 function 就是它的功能，里面都有了，所以其实你只要用那个 D 就瞄准它，也不用瞧任何角度，随便一个角度，你只要把它放在你的框框里面，你就可以读到任何你所要的资讯了。
All right, let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
好的。
All right, welcome back. Have you ever taken pictures like you're outside and you're just taking a picture of, some like a tourist spot or just some beautiful surroundings?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Hold on, wait. Have you ever done that and then suddenly the little option for the QR code pops up?
Yeah, sometimes.
Because you don't realize that there's some QR code somewhere in your phone.
Right. That's true.
That's happening to me more and more often. I'm just trying to take a picture of like maybe my wife, but then there's a QR code next to her somewhere and then it pops up like, do you want to go here? I'm like, no, I don't know. Leave me alone. Stop trying to give me information. It's just too much.
好，所以你看Shane老师就遇到我们大家都会遇到的问题。照相的时候，有的时候本来我明明是在照这个东西，结果怎么突然跳出来一个 QR code 的资讯？就是因为 everywhere 你都可以看到 QR codes.
Yes, they're ubiquitous now. Ubiquitous.
Okay, ubiquitous.
Yeah, so ubiquitous just meaning everywhere.
对，就是你到处普遍上都可以看得到的。
Okay, so let's continue here. For a QR code to be scanned, it must contain 3 black squares in 3 of the code's corners. Okay. So you do notice that within all of those little dots and lines, there's always these 3 squares somewhere in there, right? And those are necessary.
对，所以一开始他就讲说，刚才我们讲说任何角度都可以 scan， 但是呢，你不管任何角度，你去 scan 它的时候呢，他这边就有讲了，当你去扫描它的时候呢，你的行动条码旁边，因为我们知道它是一个方框，所以其实是有4个角落。可是他说呢，你的这个3个角落里面呢，必须要包含，就是你扫描的时候，必须要包含这3个黑色的方块，你才能够被扫描进去，你这个你的手机或什么才可以去读取它。意思就是说，你虽然从不同的角度切入，可是你还是要把它3个角落有3个黑色方块的地方要进去那个框框里面，这个时候才能够去读取它的。
Right. So these small squares help the camera determine the position of the code. So it's by getting exactly where are these 3 squares, it knows how to position the code. It knows basically that's why we can do it from every angle.
对，所以呢这边呢老师大概去查了一下，就是说这个 QR code 最外围那3个角落，就是我们刚才讲要扫描的那个地方，因为它都是重叠的方块，那这些重叠的方块我们称之为它的定位标记，就是这个 position， 就它会告诉你我要定位在哪一个网址或网站。那所以你扫描的时候，它就会跳出你所要的那一个资讯的地方，所以呢，它这叫定位的一个标记。所以它这边讲说，这些小小的方块呢，其实就是有助于呢我们的这些相机呢去 determine， 这个 determine 的意思就是去 locate， 去确定它的方位，去找出，对，去找出来，测定出来它的 position， 就是它的这个方位，行动条码的方位。
Okay. There must also be an empty white border around the outside of the QR code. Okay. So if you look closely at these QR codes, you will find that there is a white border around it.
没错，所以他就说的这个行动条码的外面，它的外部必须一定要有一个东西，就是有一个空白的白色边框。所以下次你可以把它拿，它不是整个都填满，它旁边会有一个空白的地方。
为什么呢？This blank space, or the quiet zone, is used to help the camera identify the start and end of the code. So it's a blank space. Blank just means there's nothing on it. There's nothing there. It's blank, right? So it's actually a quiet zone. That's a cute name for it, the quiet zone. All right, so it identifies the start and the end of the code, basically. Okay.
好，所以为什么会有这样子的一个白色，然后要是空白的这个白色边框呢？因为这一个空白的区域呢，或者另外一个称法就叫它叫外围区域。 好，这个 quiet 原本 quiet 我们就讲说它是静态的一个区域。好，他说这个静态的区域，也有人把它称之为 outline zone， 就是外围这个区域。那它主要呢就是用来帮助我们的这个照相机呢，可以找出这个行动条码的这个位置。好 ，identify 就是类似刚才的 determine， 就是你定位出来，找出来它的那个 start 开始的地方在哪里。还有它结束的地方在哪里，所以我们的相机就可以去辨别出这个行动条码的起点跟它的终点。
Very well explained.
非常聪明的设计。
Yes. Okay. So the rest of the black squares and dots inside the code all represent data that can be turned into readable information. Wow. It's kind of mind-blowing how these things, because it really just looks like a bunch of dots and lines, like it looks like nothing, but there's all kinds of information there.
没错。
It's so remarkable. They can be turned in, these things represent code, you know, and that becomes something readable. It's just
对，所以刚才老师用到 mind blowing， 就是哇，怎么会我们可以知道一个这么很惊人的这样的一个对我们的想法来说所以是很突破的一个东西。好。所以呢，它最后这个句子就是说，我们所看到的 QR code 里面，它就是一些方框啊，一些黑黑的、白白的东西啊，没想到这些东西呢 ，the rest 就是其他的，在行动条码里面的这些黑色的这个方块也好啦，或者是点点也好啦，其实呢，在这个里面都是代表着所有你要的资讯哦。所以你不要看到一个点。一条线或者是一个方框，你就觉得这不都长这样子吗？没有，它这里面都是有经过它的这个设计的。然后呢，这样子你扫描进去的时候呢，才可以被转变成我们可以读取的这些资料。真的是很聪明
，Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's take a short break. We'll be right back for the ending.
好的。
All right, so we're getting ready to wrap up day 2 of all of this very interesting information about QR codes.
没错。
Everywhere we look, they're sometimes even getting in our way of our normal life when I want to take a picture of my wife, for example. But it is a great technology that's very useful for us,
true.
Right? So continuing the article. The invention of smartphones helped QR codes spread rapidly across the world. Right? So it is really just due to smartphones that it was able to spread. You know, to spread just means to go from one place to another and go all over, to spread.
没错，所以它就是要搭配 smartphone。对，所以它就是 QR code 的兴起，因为 smartphone 也因为它变得更加的这个，就是刚刚老师讲的 spread，OK， 全部都迅速的传播了。所以这边就讲到了智慧型手机的发明呢，确实它就是帮助行动条码在世界各地都可以迅速的传播下去 ，rapidly, quickly.
Okay, when the COVID-19 pandemic occurred in 2020, QR codes became the perfect tool for sharing information without making physical contact. That was really the key during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Is we need to get information, but we can't touch stuff, right? You know, we had to really get this information and be able to get to it without getting our hands on it, right? That was the big point of COVID-19, is to really keep your hands clean and keep them away from things. And sharing information became very important because we're no longer allowed to really get close to people anymore.
That's true. 所以大家可以回想呢，那个时候 COVID-19 呢，在2020年 occurred， 就是 happened。它在那个时候发生的时候呢，我们每一天出去，不管去任何地方，就一定要带着你的手机，其他东西忘了带也就算了，那手机不能忘了，否则你要进去一个店，你还进不去嘞，因为你一定要先扫描然后登记说你是某某某，你才能够进入，因为那个时候我们的政府要求实名制嘛，对不对？大家都还记得，对，所以你如果没有手机去证明你这个人，你还真的进不去某一些 building 里面。 所以他就说了，就是在那个时候呢 ，QR code 就变成是一个非常棒的这样子的一个 perfect tool， 尤其是我们那个时候也想要共享一些资讯，然后这些资讯呢是我们可以一边共享，但是却不需要有身体的接触。
Right, exactly. So QR codes are now integrated into the digital age, and their popularity will surely continue to grow in the years ahead. Okay, so when we say something is integrated into something else, here we're saying it's integrated into the digital age. So to integrate means to become part of something.
Yeah.
To kind of, like
mix.
that. Yeah, like to come mixed in and connected to something. So QR codes really are integrated in the digital age now.
没错。
Like when we think of the digital age, we're thinking of QR codes.
对，所以他这边就讲说呢，这个行动条码呢，现在已经刚才老师解释了 ，integrated 就是指融合，被融合进入，所以它的介意使用 into。所以它已经完全的融入到我们这个所谓的数位 digital， 我们这个数位的这个时代里面，而且呢，它的这个人气，它的受欢迎的程度呢，一定还会持续的 grow、increase， 持续的增长。In the years ahead 就是 in the future， 就是在未来呢，它还是持续的会一直不断的增长。
Yes. Yes, I definitely think that we have not seen the end of all of the uses of QR codes. I think they're going to come up with even more and more useful ways to integrate QR codes into our lives and to really do what technology does for us, which is just make life simpler.
我有想到一个方法，就是以后我们每一个老师身上都穿一个 QR code 的 T 恤，然后今天你想要听 Shane 老师的这个英文课，你就 scan 这个 QR code。Shane 老师就开始 Hi everybody, I'm Shane. I'm going to talk about topic about 对不对？然后你想要听 Bernice 的课，就点 Bernice 的 QR code， 你就可以听到课。你看这样多方便，学习也变得非常方便。
All of the information that you want to know about us, like how old you are, like
Not this
how
information.
tall, how much you weigh,
how many boyfriends and girlfriends you have, how many wives you have.
All kinds of delicious information. But yeah, you can just imagine it's hard to imagine actually.
对，真的不知道如何想象。
Yeah, who knows? But the QR code is definitely here to stay.
没错。
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for the QR code, and we very much hope you enjoyed today's lesson.
Yes.
Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.